Rainy, how are you, man?
Doing great. How's everybody? Sorry about that.
You're good, man. We're doing good. Excited to have a conversation with you. Get
Same,
into the nitty
same.
gritty.
Yeah, let's do it. Thanks for having me.
Dude, absolutely. I guess we can kick this off. I read on your website a little bit that you have a pretty impressive background. Can you just tell us about, where you started, how you got into AI, your background, anything people would find interesting?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I started coding when I was like um, later in my 20s. I founded a cool AI Web3 startup, one of the biggest Web3 companies in the world right now. Like they're actually getting a ton of bucks. I don't want to dox myself. Um, Beyond that startup, I worked with like NVIDIA on an AI collab for GTC on a brand new kind of AI that we did. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess like halfway into the startup that I had, I just kind of realized that maybe AI and Web3 was a little too intense together back then because this was like during like the ETH days in like 2020, 2021, 20, those days and COVID days. Um, so like I thought that maybe it'd be better if we kind of just like I stepped away from that company instead of it being Web3, tried to make it Web2, didn't really work out. Um, yeah, but then I kind of started trenching in like Soul. Um, I'd say a year ago. Um, and I just turned 30 now, by the way. So I've been doing that startup for a long time. Um, and basically quickly realized that I'm just like a halfway decent trader. And given my background in AI with NVIDIA and collaborating with NASA PhDs on new types of AI, um, I'm like, why don't I just train my own AI? Right. So that was like about a year ago. Um, and then Believe came out with this really cool ecosystem where you could launch a coin, launch a company. So I'm like, why don't I take the tools that I made personally for myself and launch? Oh shoot, launch this copy trader, and that's how we started. We started with the ticker copy because initially it was just a tool I'd built myself to copy trades, and then yeah, now we're here with Rainmaker, and it's kind of cool because we've done like a full loop, like it's fully like full circle. Because the first tool that I made myself was an AI agent that would just go out make trades for me. It would actually interface with like Trojan and um, all these like TG bots, and it would click on like buttons itself after the AI had determined it had high confidence in a trade. It would make the trades for itself. So yeah, I'm just super excited to finally be here, back where I was trying to get to basically a year ago.
That's awesome. So you guys originally started Rain as a copy trading platform with the ticker copy. When did that transition to Rain happen, or can you help me understand what's going on there with the copy token and now you have the Rain token?
Yeah, and I gotta say, I love your profile photo because I feel like I'm talking to that dude. Um, it's awesome.
Let's go.
Um, so it's like still happening right now. I actually had to like code up a little Metaplex formula to change the metadata. So it's still like populating, but I just made the change about like maybe a week ago, actually. But like I guess mentally, like we've been Rain for a long time because we're Rainmaker. So I feel like everybody was just kind of going with like the meme of copy and trying to make the best out of it. But really, it's like we're Rain now, and it just makes the most sense branding wise. So yeah, I mean, we've been with copy for 3 months now.
Okay,
Is,
so it's
is
really
it the
just
point to make it rain? Like, is it playoff making it rain?
Hell yeah.
All right.
Let it rain, make it rain, man. Um, that's what our AI agent's supposed to do. And like the whole philosophy is just around rain. Like people don't know this about me. But I'm rainy dev because like I have the rain on 24/7. Like when I probably joined this, you probably heard like And that's just like my phone, just always keeping the rain on. That's how I stay concentrated. And people that know me personally know I always have the rain on. So, yeah, super obsessed with rain, and it just makes sense for like our financial goals, I guess.
That's hilarious. That's one of the most random things I've heard a Def say in a long time. So obsessed with rain. Okay, there you go. Well, you might as well be obsessed with rain since that's what you're working on here. But that's pretty cool. So you've just started to roll out storms to your top holders. Um, are storms going to be your AI agents that you can actually select and trade with?
Hell yeah. And we just started rolling them out yesterday. So like storms are. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. If you had like more to your question, or
No, no, I just see you're starting to roll out the storm. So like I'd like a better idea of what that kind of means, when the average person can expect access to your agents and just all of that.
word. Is there a way for me to share my screen? Because I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so at the bottom there you see in the middle there's a little computer looking or a monitor looking button. Just click on that and you should be able to,
Boom.
yeah, make
Fire.
sure you're sharing what you want to share. I can, okay, cool.
I hope I am. I hope.
Right now,
Yeah.
we see your search history on screen. Did you mean that?
Yes, that is exactly what I meant. Have fun. So hopefully right now you see the Rainmaker home screen, right?
For sure.
All right, bet. So right now, this is kind of like the manual portion of Rainmaker. It basically predicts what it thinks will graduate, and it assigns like confidence values. Damn, that's a crazy looking chart on the right. So basically, this will be phased out, and the model that we've trained um, basically is trained on a corpus of data. We get like 2 million snapshots of tokens that run through Rainmaker every single day. And that data is taken to our proprietary model, and it's trained locally. And basically, we have one label that we care about, and that's, can you predict whether this token will graduate before it does? And so um, that's basically the basis of Rainmaker. And um, I came up with the idea because I was like, I'm pretty shit at just like running through meme scope and being presented with three columns, and I'm kind of lost. It's like the casino vibe, casino nature, which is it's cool, right? But it doesn't lend itself to concentration and the zenful nature of just like, show me what you think will be successful, and then I'll use my human intuition from there. So that's basically what this is meant to be, but it serves as the basis for this guy, which is Storm. And Storm is an autonomous agent that will take everything that the model is, let's say 90, 95, or 98% confident in, and it will auto ape into that stuff for you AFK. So you don't have to, all you do is set it, forget it. And, it's kind of like cursor for trading, to where you can just like tell an agent what you want to do, what you want to code, and you come back hopefully to profit. So Storm is an autonomous agent, and it uses this predicted to graduate model, which the system says today is around 10% accurate. Yeah, I hope I explained that well.
Okay, so yeah, you explained that perfectly. So thanks for that little update. I see a bunch of configurations on the side there. Can you get into what some of that stuff means and how I would set that up to have my agent trading autonomously in a couple minutes?
For sure. So, most importantly, we have the on button. Second, most importantly, we have the size. Like, how big do you want Storm to size into these trades for you? Max positions here on the left, 1, 2, 3. That's just like the concurrent trades that you'll let the agent have. And you can have infinite trades like open concurrently, but I think it's good if we kind of Apple this shit and just like limit options, and that limiting of options will help our users be more successful, higher win rate, just from what I've tested. And then we have like a preset button to where we have some presets for you. You can save your preset. We have auto, which will take some stats from what it's seen graduate, and then like it'll tell you how much it thinks that you should take profit and when you should take profit. I think that needs to be worked out a little bit. But you have like your own, if you wanted to set it, your own trailing stop loss, your own take profit, your own post take profit, trailing stop loss, and then you have your the amount that you'd like to take profit at initially. This is just the rule set that I came up with myself. Like I have videos on our Twitter for just like me going to sleep, and then hours later it's made one trade, but that one trade it made rendered 322%. That's up on our Twitter. And that's like kind of the rule set where that enabled me to be successful. So I obviously want my users to be successful. And so I'm giving them the preset that worked for me.
This is the preset right here?
Yeah, that's the preset. This is it right here. So everyone, when they come in the Storm, they don't have to do anything. I know we had some users messing with the settings, but I'm like, no, don't fucking do that. You want to just use this at first, and then, start slowly and explore. Yeah, but next we have like the model. So we have a model that takes around 60 seconds to determine like all of this stuff right now, and it's fairly accurate. Like this one bonded, right? But it was 99% predicted. I don't even know how far back I mean, look, that's how far back it predicted it would bond.
That's crazy.
Somewhere right in here. And look at all this damage it did, guys. Like that's fucking crazy, right? Yeah, so I mean,
wait, I gotta ask before you get any further. Can you give us like any insight into the reasoning that goes behind these models, or like where are they gathering this data from to predict that these tokens are going to be successful and graduate and have this 10, 20, 50, 100%, 90% rate of graduation?
Okay. Yeah, so it might still be up on our page, but first, like before this was our own platform, I had made like extensions for myself. And basically there is this new extension that I had called, there was one called Petrichor, which means like the scent of the rain when it falls on the earth. And that was our copy trader. And then there's another one called Rainmaker, and that one ran on top of Photon and its meme scope. And basically it had like a custom algorithm that I had basically kind of like taken the data from Photon in meme scope, and I just let it analyze everything that's new, a newly created token for like a few days. And then I came up with my own kind of like algorithms from there as to how do I predict in a very basic machine learning way. And then basically those algorithms engineer the features going into this heavier machine learning model. So it's just like we're getting any data that we can get, basically liquidity, market cap, bond, anything that the token will spit out from API endpoints we get for tens of thousands of tokens a day, and that translates to millions of snapshots. And then we basically have a really good model that will distill all of the, well, not all, but most of the shitty coins that never graduate, and basically align itself with the features for what makes graduation possible or more frequent. And then it'll suggest that with a confidence here in the UI.
I have a question on this.
Sure.
This is a little more of a general question. On one hand, it's great that these tools exist for any trader, average traders,
Right.
because in the traditional markets, it seems like this type of tooling just is only for institutional hedge funds, and they always have an edge.
Right.
How do you think about these types of tools being used on Solana now in the trenches? It seems like if you're not using some sort of bundling sniper bot, automation, you're basically your win rate's going to be basically zero, and it's just max extraction. Like, is that a real thing where if you're not using these tools, you're basically going to lose almost 100% of the time?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's still benefits to the old-fashioned way of like just like socially trading, right? But I do believe like it's kind of like Cursor, um, to where I agree, to where it's like, yeah, I started coding when I was 12. I'm 30 now, right? I would never be able to still like trench through 3,000 lines of code every single day for the last month. But when I look back at Cursor, that's what it's helped me do every single day, 3,000 lines of code, right? That's basically 100,000 lines every month. And I feel like if you don't have some sort of bot, and going into the future, if you don't have an AI agent, then you're at yeah, a severe disadvantage, because you don't have the humans could never keep up in certain capacities. But right now, where humans are still at the forefront is the social aspect of trading, and I think that we're kind of close with cracking that with the new model as well. So yeah, I mean, I feel like this is the future. You need one to give you the edge, and like you said, there's just been institutions, hedge funds, keeping this stuff private, and the barrier to entry for a tool like this is relatively low, and that's what we want to do over time. Is just give more and more people access to it. Because personally, I feel like it's the future, and everyone should have one. It should be cost efficient too.
And so, yeah, on the cost efficiency side, I looked on your website too, and I saw the business model. It looks like you're taking what, 2% transaction fees from anyone that does not hold the Rain token, and then 0% from Rain token holders. Can you explain how you guys actually generate the revenue?
Yeah, for sure. And to be honest, I like my mind has not been on the website, and I'm like one dev, so like it's been just like interfacing with our cult community every day in Discord, and they're the most up to date. So I need to edit that, but basically it's 2% of every transaction, regardless if you're a holder or not, and no one's allowed to try it now. That was for like a previous beta. No one's allowed to try Storm unless they're a holder, um, because we don't know what the effects are of like what happens when there's 1,000 people using Storm and they all have the same settings that I gave them, and there's a huge Storm God candle every single time. Like we don't know the effects yet, so we're trying to not limit how many people will be able to use it at first, but we kind of want to just control the outcomes first to see what the actual effects will be and make sure they're beneficial for users in the community. Second, uh, yeah, I mean, in order to get access to tech like this in the past, institutionally, it's cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, in the very least, to train your own model. That's why hedge funds were the only, entities privy to tools like this. And to be honest, when this started as a personal endeavor about a year ago, it's like it was costing crazy amounts of money. It was like 2 grand every single day just to get the amount of data that I needed back then to train a
That's nuts.
halfway okay model. Yeah. So in order to make that even available to users and to have any kind of ROI, or to just, sustain and have some sort of runway for a startup, if someone was starting one back then, you would have to like charge literally out of the ass for everybody, and no one would try it except for like whales, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, that's our business model right now. 2% of every transaction. We might have a sliding fee to where like if Storm happens to lose the trade for you, then we take a smaller amount of the transaction, which I think would be fair. But if it gets anywhere above 500% on a trade, maybe it takes a little bit more. And basically, from there, 50% of the income will start going to token buybacks from our transaction fees, and doing them in not a conspicuous way, because people will front run the chart, but just going to token buybacks to help bolster our chart, our token, and get people more involved, because part of the business model is unfortunately chart optics. And if you don't have the sexiest chart, then people kind of judge the tech on the chart. But yeah, that's our business model right now.
Yeah, it's almost like the product is the market cap, and then the utility flows from there. But I do agree, and actually, it's an interesting model where it's kind of like how private funds work, where they have a carried interest component. So 2% management fee and then 20% carried interest on profits, which just means that if they earn you a return as an investor, they take 20% of those profits for being, as profitable or as good as at their job as they could be. Like this, that would be a really good, I think, buyback mechanic. If this is really truly that good at what it does, it should command that kind of little carried interest back into token holders. That would be wildly interesting. I don't think I've ever heard that anyone do that.
Word. Yeah.
I mean, like if Axiom did this and had a token, it would be like so valuable. Like Axiom has made so many bundlers, snipers, and farmers so much money. And it's just been so extractive. But yeah.
100%. Yeah. Super extraction based. They've made an amazing tool, and that's why people use it. But yeah, we want to bolster the token and do token buybacks and shit like that. So yeah,
That's what's up. I was just kind of thinking back a little bit. You were talking about your reasoning model and what kind of determines a trade, and you mentioned a lot of token information that goes into it, liquidity, uh, you know, launchpad, like whatever it is that goes into it. Are there any social metrics paired with that as well? For example, chatter on Twitter or anything like that, or is it simply just token metrics or token metadata?
there is.
Can you talk a little bit about that? What does it look for on Twitter? What is something that indicates maybe a better trade or a worse trade, or how does the social help? How does the AI agent digest Twitter content and then actively put that towards determining a better or worse trade?
Okay, so first of all, the part I really can't talk about is that we train on the Twitter data. Um, the part I can talk about is that you have filters for this stuff in real time as well. One thing that I've noticed that I don't mind talking about is that we have like this clone detection, and basically, clones are a problem with meme coins. One simple way to filter out for the same token being minted over and over again would just be like the unique Twitter ID if it has a tweet. So right now we only allow Storm to purchase tokens that have tweets that we can do things like clone detection. So if you said yes, then you would be like, how many maximum clones will you allow it to buy, kind of ordeal. And for the part that kind of feeds our feature engineering, I would say we look at just like in general, the amount of engagement a token's tweet has and the time frame of that engagement without getting into specifics. That will more generally indicate that a token will be successful from the data.
So clone detection is, and this happened to me with FWOG back in the day, where it was like there was one FWOG, but there was also different versions of FWOG that were out there, and then one of them ended up being the real one. Is that correct when you say clone detection?
Yeah, but for the one that was the real one, was it minted first or second?
I see. I don't know. That was the problem. People were shilling one and then it ended up being another. And I had it like sub million and ended up running to like 500 million. But yeah, like I think those are the experiences that a lot of trenchers, I mean, if you haven't gotten rugged by a clone, I guess, are you really
I
trenching?
wish they can
Are
come
you
up with
really into
something.
shit?
Also,
No, go ahead.
also though, like the PvP in Solana is just so hot, right? You can have two of the same tokens just competing back and forth, and there's money to make. There's opportunity to make money on both of those tokens if it's played right. So, it's just interesting to see if the bot would completely not even focus on those because there's too much risk, or if, I don't know, it has some way of identifying tokens that are PvPing and maybe trying to make a profit off of both of them based on volume, holders, yada yada yada. So
For sure. And I mean, that's a great idea. So I actually have leading clone versus not leading clone in the works of just reshuffling the phone, your funds. Like, let's say it invested in a clone that's in third place and there's 3 clones, then basically it'll keep reevaluating every 60 seconds or 30 seconds, just depending on the model that you choose, which clone is not predicted to graduate anymore, but predicted for success. But that's in our next model, P2R, predicted to run. And basically it'll take every token after graduation and try to see which ones will hit 1 million market cap for a potential 5 to 10x easy. But yeah, I'm definitely working on that. And that's definitely dope that you brought that up. But right now in its current state, it does not. It just merely looks at, is this the first of its kind? And unfortunately, it's just a simple risk prevention measure right now, because the second or third one or fourth or fifth one or eighth one sometimes these days could like run, right?
that totally makes sense.
Yeah. But in the future, it'll reshuffle your funds out because it'll keep an eye on every single clone, and just keep evaluating all of them with the model, and whichever one is highest predicted to run, that's which one it'll just auto shuffle your funds into. So hopefully you don't miss any super big plays like fog. So
Got
yeah.
you. And something interesting I want to go back and touch on too is you had mentioned that you're slowly pushing this out and scaling because you don't want to, you haven't experimented and seen how many users with the same settings will affect the trading. Josh mentioned this on the last stream that some of these tokens, or especially the ones that we're looking at here, are micro caps, right? Pre-graduated, pre-bond. Um, how do you expect to prevent onboarding 1,000 users and counteracting that sell pressure, or it's totally a work of progress right now and you're trying to figure out as you go, like you mentioned?
100%. Yeah, that's a super big concern. I think that's just like craziness to me to just buy up potentially 90% of a token with different users just because we have 20 people that use a storm, but that could potentially happen. So kind of limiting the amount of users right now in the first week or so to being like 100. And then long term over the next month, I would say we're going to limit it to around 1,000 users. Only when we have enough configurations, new models like the P2R model, enough variations that everyone's not aping into the exact same thing,
Yeah.
basically.
Like, could there even be benefit? Because we know supply control can be bullish in some cases, right? We saw a lot of tokens on, for example, Bonk Fun a couple weeks ago just kind of get really bundled and run really hard. Could there even be some sort of benefit for, if you guys do have 1,000 people or 20 people, say, trading a pre-graduated token and having some level of supply control? Maybe you guys could even somehow make that profitable for all your holders too. So it's an interesting
Yeah,
thought to kind of, I guess, that you're just going to have to figure out as you progress, right?
I guess so. Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. It kind of reminds me of like the early Tesla days when people were like, maybe your Tesla will talk to another Tesla and prevent an accident. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
like all the possibilities that are there. It's like, dude, that actually be kind of dope. So yeah, I mean, we have to like scope it out as we go, play it by ear and figure it out. But yeah, I definitely fuck with that.
Chill, I kind of butted in. I saw you were talking, so you can go ahead if you still have that question.
Yeah, no, I wanted to just get a sense of, I know you said you're limiting users right now, like, but amongst users you do have, any like success stories, or like what's the experience been from your community? I know you mentioned that they were pretty um, they were pretty like cult type of community, but yeah, let's just tell us about like any experiences that they shared with you guys on, you know, their use of the app.
Hopefully right now they're not too mad at me, because there's like a little bit of a catastrophic bug going on right now. So the regex parsing with the tweets, when I was testing yesterday, it actually bought a token without a tweet, and that's a huge no-no for me. So right now it's being overly strict and hasn't bought a single thing for anyone. So we're gonna patch that bug around 2 to 3 p.m. I'd say maybe even 4 in the latest today, Pacific time. And that should have everybody's storms up and running. But everyone's like generally just excited. This isn't like the first piece of tech that we have shipped. It's like the fourth. So I feel like our cool community is just kind of used to it by now. It's like, okay, maybe the first day or so of the launch, there's like bugs that I don't foresee, and this is one of them. So as soon as we can get it up and running, then it'll be great. Like the copy trader Petrichor that we had, or like the Rainmaker extension before as a platform, or even just like this. Like this took a few days for people to be like, oh my God, I found my own 7x. And then like when things like Claude Pewter, the UI shows you that, then people are like, if I had aped into what Rainmaker showed me, I would have made a 70x. So I'd still give it like a day or so until we report on like user feedback. But that bug is kind of preventing everybody's storms from buying anything right now. So I have to get my hands dirty and fix it, I guess.
Now, Rainey, we know the best cults are formed from people that are making money, right? That's how you build these strong cults. How have you managed to build a cult here around what you're building with Rainey and just everything with these agents? Has it been from people making money, or is there something you're doing just with it, with like daily updates, communication? What builds a strong cult like something you've built?
Right. Um, I think it's some people making money, and I think it's some people just seeing the vision for like what we're creating. And like, you know, this didn't start off as a project that I thought that I would market. I just wanted to actually be one of those institutions that has its own AI model and it just prints. So when the Believe structure came out, they released their infra where you can drop a coin and drop a company. Then it just kind of made sense to make what had been personally mine um, available to more people. And like day one, I dropped a script open source of some tech that I've been using for a copy trader. And I think people have just like respected that I've been super transparent with the journey, and just like this literally didn't start as a company. It started as like, how do I personally print here in the trenches in a way that'll give me the edge? And I think that's, you know, most people think that's the least selfish way that you could start off in the trenches, by giving people the same tech and just open sourcing it. So yeah, I think it's a little bit of some people having success stories with Rainmaker, the manual side, and I think the other part is the vision for what we're scoping out here, because I don't think anyone's really scoping that out in the space of cursor, but for trading, cursor, but for trenching.
I think you make a great point. The best founders and success stories I feel like come from people that create something for themselves and then just realize there's lots of benefit to open source it or share it with a community. So I really like what you've done there, and I can applaud that. One
Thank you.
concern I have though when I think about trading and agents is it seems like it's a very uh, saturated space. I see so many people trying to build trading agents. You know, my question to you is how would you set what you're building apart from others, and how are you going to continue to innovate at a super high level and continue to make this something profitable and better than the competition?
Um, that's an amazing question. I think about that every day. It haunts me in my sleep. I have nightmares about it. Um, but for real, the easy way in here is that most people claiming AI in this space, unfortunately, but fortunately for our Rainmaker, is a LARP, right? Most of them are LARPs.
True.
Most of them are not real AI. We have an actual model. I collaborated with NVIDIA. I know what it's like to train models. You know, I'm talking to computer science PhDs on other projects that I'm training other models on as well. I'm not docs, but I've created an AI startup in music, actually, backed by one of the biggest crypto companies in culture right now. Um, yeah, I mean, most of them are LARPs, and if they're not LARPs, then they're GPT wrappers, right?
Right.
I think the easiest way for us, I actually think this is all incredibly easy because most of them are LARPs. Most of them don't train their own models, and most of them are just GPT wrappers. And I feel like the customized nature that we're starting with here of just having our own fully just fully bona fide custom model is extremely deeply important to the success of a company, because that basically dictates how flexible you can be as a company and what you can build in as a feature. It's like if it wasn't customized, I wouldn't have all the options of a lot of this stuff and just like doing predicted to graduate or reshuffling things from clones in and out. Just all the crazy ideas that we're going to be dropping soon. We wouldn't be able to do any of that, I don't think. But I think the competition has made it easy for us because it's oversaturated, yes. But most of them are LARPs. And if the 90% that aren't LARPs, that remaining 10% is about mostly GPT wrappers. And if they're not GPT wrappers, then they're just doing something like copying a real human's traits. And yeah, not
No,
trying to take shots at anybody, but
that's a great answer.
thank
I
you.
think we can all agree. We see AI, and so much of it is LARP today, or GPT wrappers, or something very simple that doesn't do anything special. So I do think that's a fantastic answer. But you mentioned, you have this big vision and grand vision, all these things you want to do. It's a one-man show right now. You're the only dev. Are you looking to onboard other people that can help kind of build out this vision at any point, or are you just going to stick to it, heads down, solo dev in this thing to, complete your vision?
Um, so on this launch, we have help from another dev, and I'm going to implement that script that he actually wrote. So we're going to be hiring a couple other devs to help me soon, probably within the next 2 weeks. And that'll help us scale. And then just as far as like other resources, like maybe not devs, but other people that I'm in touch with from my other startup, um, people that are like really good at branding or people that have literally branded this crypto company that backed my last company. And that's why I know them. Like I might go with them. Um, yeah, I mean, just looking to scale out in any way, shape, or form possible, but starting with those two devs for
Yeah, so
sure.
you have plenty of experience building startups in the past, and I guess hiring and onboarding then. So you just you'll be good, I guess, then for Rain to do the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, and something people don't know about me is like in a completely different industry, I have like um, a lot of success. And that is one of my main reasons for just going anon is like, I don't want that area to be the focus. I want just the tech to be the focus. Um,
Wouldn't your good name help though?
so that's what I thought for the Web3 startup, right? And it did to an extent, but it also it's kind of like, for the worst example possible, it's kind of like when Kanye, before he went super crazy, he was like, let me not rap anymore. Let me make clothes. And everyone was like, hold on, what the fuck are you doing? Why would you do that? And then people actually bought most of his clothes. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like
So you're going crazy.
yeah, I'm going crazy. Maybe the people that know me already. No, it's just kind of like the previous. people want to fit you into a box, and I have experience with that. And I'm like, no more boxes, do it anon and just go, just ship.
Oh, that makes sense. Makes sense.
It's all right. My co-hosts are anon, so they can't throw too much judgment your way.
No worries.
I don't even know who Chill and Dom are. I just see these little avatars,
Internet personalities. We might not
These-
even exist. We might be AI created by Rainmaker as one big just Rainmaker shill ultimately.
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to ask about the Meteorite Collective. I believe the way we got connected was through a grant recipient you got, or you won a hackathon. Can you just speak on the relationship there and what you did?
Yeah, I mean, Meteorite's been like super, super supportive. They awarded us a grant, the utility award, and um, just for, I think, just recognizing us along with other founders for just trying to bring super useful products to the trenches and help people on their trenching journeys. Um, yeah, so I mean, they've given us a grant, they've given us marketing support, they've given us advice, they've given us a lot of good resources to help build Rainmaker, and I think act as like a marketing vessel for any other founders or companies that are on the come up or trying to build something unique and offer utility to people, like actual utility. They've done that, and they continue to chart that path forward. So like super super big props to them. But yeah, we're the recipient of their utility award, and super honored to be a recipient.
Is there anything you had to do to get that reward? For example, like a hackathon or something, or they just saw your product and tech and talked to you a bit and were like, this guy rocks.
Um, I think we got connected from Believe to them, and then I applied for one of their grants, and then we weren't eligible. And I think they're so dope to where they're like, they took a step back and they looked at what we're building and trying to build, and they're like, nah, that's pretty cool. So if they're not eligible for that, then maybe we kind of need to rethink what grants we're giving out and think of more. And then they thought of another one. They're like, yo, we think it'll be good for this one, applied for that one, and then we got we got that grant. So that was amazing. No hackathon, just application.
No, that's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah, shout out Meteor Collective. They are
Uh,
obviously great people. They sponsor the show too, if you weren't aware. So
Can
we
I
love
can I
overhearing.
just talk about that process? Like, what kind of things do you put into an application? Like, are you sending them parts of your code base, or are you just doing like a video demo and sending it to them? How does that work?
um,
Or
no,
are you just applying and they're kind of like, yeah, like we can see you have a live product or whatnot, but yeah, I don't know if you can like just high level speak on that.
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit more strict than that. Um, I think if you just apply and you tell your story and you give a little bit about the background of what you've built and like the vision for where it's going, if they mess with the vision, then I think they're all in. If they're like, this is kind of watered down and not unique, then maybe not. Like you guys said, they back you guys, and you know, I think this is a unique show. It's really dope. So I think just like they try to separate like the real from the not real, and just in the form of an application, that's all it takes. Um, and it might differ for like other grants that they have, right? Like the application process might be very different for other grants. I'm not really sure, but that's my experience with these two.
Awesome. Can we touch a bit about the Rainmaker tokenomics and the Rain tokenomics? How much supply does the team hold? You talked about you have this flywheel mechanism. Are you burning those tokens, or are you just holding them in a storage? Can you tell us a bit about the tokenomics is what I'm asking.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the team does not hold, the team being me, the team does not hold that much of the supply. The way the Believe tokens are created is, I think they're actually trying to change this now.
Mhm.
You don't get any of the supply necessarily when the token launches. You kind of have to get that supply over time. So I own maybe 3%. Most of my holders are cold holders and they hold more than I do. That's just how much they believe in the vision. Um, yeah, I mean, the tokenomics, we haven't burned any yet, but we are looking forward to doing buybacks to hold and bolster the supply, because I've noticed there's been quite a few swing traders that are trying to take advantage of the Believe ecosystem that might not even believe in the product, but they'll just like do like crazy wicks on our chart and just, flip us from positive to negative to positive. And people on our Discord are always yapping about it, and I'm yapping about it in my head. But yeah, we haven't done any burns yet. Burns are probably going to be planned in the future, maybe for storm trades. Like maybe if it loses a certain amount of trades every week, then we burn based on the losses, or we burn based on the wins. Um, that's something that we could do. But yeah, the tokenomics I think are pretty simple right now. It's just to get everyone's storms working, reach 100 daily active users, and from the transaction fees, start using 50% of the revenue we make in transaction fees towards token buybacks.
Cool. And how was that experience launching with Believe? How did the fees benefit you and your project and what you're building? And would you have rather launched somewhere else, or like looking back in retrospect, what are some thoughts on launching via Believe?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. Honestly, I think that is a really cool opportunity. Um, I think I was gonna raise from my second company, and just like the whole VC process, if people aren't aware, is like really, really, really intense. So part of the reasons why I got back in the trenches was to just be like, well, why don't I just make my own super small hedge fund AI model? It just trades for me. I don't need to do anything, and it prints, right? That was the whole goal. But that was why, because I was kind of just like F the whole VC process. So I like that Believe launched it. There's Bags, there's a couple of other companies like Uber. I'm more of a general believer in you don't need to raise with a VC anymore, but you have an array of different companies that can help you, um, help get you the runway that you need so that you can launch a company immediately. So I like the philosophy, and um, it's help pay for things like the data, which is still insanely expensive. It's help pay for things like server costs, nodes, things like that. So definitely thankful for that.
Very cool. I want to touch on something you mentioned when you were explaining that, the whole idea of you launching this as like a hedge fund is super interesting. Is there any way at some point you will kind of collect some funds from the fees, or collect funds from yourself, or collect funds from somewhere, and put it into a trading agent and maybe distribute rewards to stakers, right? Having a staking mechanism where holders can stake their tokens and they get a percentage of what the hedge fund trading bot generates, and it can go back to holders in some way, shape, or form. Maybe that's something down the road when there are more funds available, uh, or not. But I just thought it was an interesting concept to actually really bona fide this and make it into a true hedge fund at some level. Is that an idea you thought about or given any credence to?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. That was actually what the whole storm rollout was supposed to be at first. And then I, with my community, kind of realized maybe it's more feasible to scale with numerous storms instead of one central storm agent trading for all of us. Um, because like we have maybe 500 some holders, and like everybody, funds would be kind of low at first, I think, unless it was, P2R model and it was aping in 20 soul at a time for a potential 5x per day, and we'll get there. But we kind of have to get to that model first. So it makes more sense to do it this way now, where everyone has their own individual storms, so we take their transaction fees and contribute that to token buybacks. And then in the future, yeah, 100%. You definitely bring up a great point. That is kind of where we're headed to, like essentially staking, basically, with one central storm agent.
I
Yeah,
guess it kind of goes back to what you said earlier. Once you get through this testing phase, when you onboard 100,000 people, to kind of see the result and impact that has on charts and the agents and how they trade and react. And I guess maybe that will potentially change your route or direction based on that, maybe into more of a hedge fund or more an individual trading agents, I guess, on depending on how that goes.
right.
Can I
100%.
I have a quick question that I don't know if we discussed. We had Avo on last week, and they have what seems like a marketplace for trading agents where anyone can kind of come and deploy them, and then the creator, I guess, of that agent gets a fee back. Do you have something similar, or are you curating these models slash agents for your users that are a little more controlled versus anyone deploying?
Yeah. So we're definitely way more controlled. We train the agents, we train the models, and then the agents make use of our models first and foremost. Um, Definitely in the future, people will like be able to share settings, or you can copy trade certain agents if someone has really specific settings that seem to be very profitable. But yeah, right now we control them.
It seems like there's really a lot of directions you could take this. From a marketplace to individual agents to a hedge fund. Would you ever consider contracting out your technology to other hedge funds or other big institutions or corporations who are willing to pay, a certain price for it?
Um, Possibly, if it benefits the tech long term, doesn't step on our toes, and it benefits our holders and users, sure. A couple of like smaller private entities have already asked to basically license the tech, so I'm trying to figure that out, because they have like access to like what goes into the model and like stats, and they're a friend of a friend kind of thing. Um, Yeah, so like a couple of smaller entities have already asked to license the tech, and I definitely see bigger entities doing that in the space. Just not sure how it can work right now, and that's what I'm kind of stuck on with them. And it's like my first priority is like, how do we make this great for ourselves first, and then like the licensing will make sense in the future.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So, um, I mean, as far as like future plans go, what would you say you're most excited about? What would you say um, you're kind of like on the cusp or working towards that? The community is most excited about right now.
Um, I think AI generated profit is going to be, I think it's going to go so hard, um, especially in the coming months of this year. I think we are used to like AI generated video. In my case, from my last startup, AI generated music. Um, there's like all forms of media. Like I think you can get a robo taxi now here in LA, right? There's just like AI is infiltrating everything. Um, doesn't mean it should be everywhere, but I do think it should be here, and I do think it will make us far more profitable. So I think the most exciting thing for us is to just, you know, first few days of this launch, fix any bugs that our users incur. Um, After the bugs are fixed, then it's time to just put that pedal to the floor and just go, and just go as fast and as hard as we can. We're going to be shipping new models probably every 4 to 5 days, just a new creative AI model. And it, because we get all the data every single day, we can just train whatever we feel like. And I think just going as fast and as hard as we can in the AI space is what we're going to do. And that's going to lead to a lot of profitability for our users and early believers. And the most exciting space that I could see us landing in as a whole would just be everyone having a storm agent, and it just being a passive form of income. You never have to check in on it, and just every week it's profitable and it'll grow your funds. And I even picture people having like Solana debit cards that have cash back and cash forward with storm agents. Like where this can go will be absolutely crazy and just completely different from our reality today in terms of money. I think we have like the opportunity here to redefine money with crypto and to further redefine it with AI agents in crypto. So,
And I have one really forward-looking question for you too, just kind of on that note.
but
With the future clearly geared towards AI, and undeniably that's where we're headed, where AI is going to be just so dominant in every field. Do you think there is a future where trading happens without AI, or do you think at some point we get to the point where, all trading is happening with some sort of AI incorporated?
oh, we're definitely going to where every form of trading is going to have some sort of AI. It's just a matter of how long it takes. Um, the thing is on chain, like a lot of people don't realize, like there are like literal AI models printing private institutions 100 mil a month on chain here in Seoul. You know, whether they be for arbitrage or some form of AI model that can just print there. It's happening right here, right now. Most people aren't aware of it. Um, but I do think that's where we're headed. I just think those profits will get redistributed as we further democratize the technology, take it out of the hands of the institutions and put it into the hands of regular holders. And that's what we aim to do with Rainmaker.
I love it, man. Well, I think that's all we got from a question standpoint. Is there any last?
Maybe I want to just that last part that you mentioned. I agree with this. So it felt like the early part of the meme coin cycle last year. It was like, I don't want to say easy to make money, but things just felt like you had more edge. And this is like, probably the early part of 2024 when Pump Fund really started to take off. Whereas today it just feels like you're trading against machines, and it just feels like not that the casino is rigged, but just it's really hard to make money without some sort of information. But yeah, I don't know if you have a comment on that, if that's just a feeling or it's just, I and others are just unprofitable traders.
No, I don't think that you're unprofitable. I really feel like there are new bots that are being like literally invented every week. And I'm really zoomed into them because I'm seeing the data all the time, but you're probably seeing them too. That if there's a new scam every week, right? A new crash coin, a new way to rug from devs and deployers, we really are actually fighting like some crazy war against bots, and we're just humans. So isn't the best alternative to not go away from the trenches, but to go deeper into the trenches and arm yourselves with something that is on par to fight that or better? And you kind of have to fight fire with fire here, because the devs and deployers are using algorithms, bots, and even AI models. So if you're not arming yourself with your own AI agent, you will start to become unprofitable over time unless you have a million copy traders. That's where we're headed. So I agree. I agree.
If
Well,
you
I
can't beat them,
think
join them.
I agree with that. And I think also our community would be really interested in this. So, we'd love to do something with you where through the show, maybe people can get access to, for future kind of releases of this. But yeah, this was really, really interesting.
Of course, I got you.
Thanks for coming on. Any last words for the people?
No, thank you for having me. Thanks for listening to me yap, and yeah, I'm
Dude, thanks
excited
for
for the
yapping.
future. Thanks,
Thanks for
man.
yapping.
Appreciate
Alrighty,
it.
man. You take it easy.
All right, guys. Peace.